Hello, and welcome to the Canadian Bowler After Dark. I'm your host, Darryl Fitzgerald, and with me are the ladies of the national team for Canada. I want to welcome these ladies to the show. It's been a long time that we've been trying to make this happen with these ladies through technical difficulties, COVID, just time zones and work and whatnot. We finally were able to come together and start this show, which is fantastic. What I'd like to do is just start out by doing a quick round of introductions for those that might not know our guests. I will start over here with Kelly McKerihen. Kelly McKerihen is a long-term member of the national team. She hails from Ontario in Canada, and she now lives and plays and works down in Australia. She is obviously part of the McKerihen family with her brother Adam, sister Lisa, and father Steve. A great bowling family out of Canada. And I just want to welcome Kelly to the show. Welcome, Kelly.
Thanks, Darryl. Thanks for having us.
Just below Kelly is Leanne Chinery. Leanne hails from BC and other parts in Canada. She has moved around a little bit and now resides down in the Southern Hemisphere in Australia. She also bowls quite a bit out there, has been a long-term member of our national team, and I want to welcome Leanne to the show.
Thanks, Darryl. Good morning from Australia, everybody, and hi, girls. Nice to see you all.
Just below me is Jackie Foster. We'll call her a friend of the show. Jackie has been on the show previously. We did a great interview with her on the Canadian Bowler. Jackie hails out of Nova Scotia and still lives in Nova Scotia. She has been a long-term member of the team and quite a active member in Nova Scotia bowling out of there. So, Jackie, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Darryl. Great to be here. Great to see the girls and you.
Thank you. Just over to this side is Joanna Cooper. Joanna is a newer member to the squad, but she hails out of Alberta, splits her time between New Zealand and Alberta. She is currently working on her PhD. She plays down in Australia as well, has been bowling a lot over the last number of years, and has been part of the success that these ladies have had at the international level. So, Joanna, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
And just above Joanna is Jordan Cost. Jordan is the youngest member of our team and one of the newer members of the team, but she has been at a number of the most recent international events like the Multi-Nations, and like the rest of these ladies, she was selected as part of the World Bowls team, which, as we know, due to coronavirus, was canceled and postponed. But Jordan bowls out of Regina in Saskatchewan and currently resides in Saskatchewan. So welcome to the show, Jordan.
Hello.
So ladies, this has been a work in progress. I'm glad to have you all on board here, and we can finally get together and chat about bowls. I wanted to throw this out to all of you and see what your answers are. All of you, over the course of your bowling career, whether you started really young or got into the sport late, have aspired to be part of the national program and obviously are currently part of the national program. Why did you want to get there and be part of this? And what are you getting out of it now that keeps you there and keeps you wanting to compete internationally?
Well, I started playing bowls quite young in my career, and just watching my family play and my dad being on the national team and seeing where he was able to travel to and where he was able to compete kind of laid the groundworks for what I wanted to do. Traveling all over the world and meeting some fantastic people along the way really is kind of what got me hooked.
Yeah, I'm a little bit the same. So when I won the under 25 singles, at the time you traveled off to the World Indoor Bowls Council under 25 tournament I remember that. So that was sort of my very first time outside of Canada, bowling wise, and just to see how different the game was outside of Canada, how much bigger it was. And just what was possible out there. I think that that really sort of gave me the itch, as it were, to try and aspire to be better, to be more, and be able to do that on a more regular basis and on the bigger stage. And what I get out of it now, I mean, it is such an honor to represent your country. It's certainly not something that we ever take for granted. It's a privilege, and as long as we've got the skills and the talent and the drive and the commitment and the ability and the opportunity, it's just something that is it's an amazing honor to be able to do.
Absolutely. I was just going to say, for me, getting started, it was actually more about an opportunity to be able to play the game with my mom and my sister. And we, of course, have had great fun. We've had some success out of Nova Scotia and nationally. And an opportunity arose to go to a training camp. And I guess that's where you got a taste of it. And as Leanne said, it is such a privilege. It's not something you take for granted. And, there are many people who would like to have that one spot that we're able and privileged to occupy at this point. So that keeps you working hard. And just in the travels that you get and the competitions that you're part of, you're seeing the game at a different level, and you're always striving to be better, and it's that fire in the belly. So it has been a great opportunity with these girls and with my family as well.
Yeah, Jackie, certainly striving to get better is something that I've always focused on. I didn't start bowling with my sights set on the national team. I didn't start bowling young like a lot of the other gals, and for me it was more just seeing where I could go with the game as far as how good I could get, and got to a point where I realized, wow, I can compete at this level, and from then on it's just about, the opportunities you get are so amazing, and just wanting to keep working hard and help this team in any way I can.
I started lawn bowling at a very young age, and at my club there were a lot of members who were representing Canada at different international events, and hearing their stories about that centered on such high-level competition was really inspiring. So I would probably say a lot of the members at the club, just hearing their stories was what made me want to pursue lawn bowls more competitively.
That's awesome. It's interesting how we're doing a nice little one after the other in order from side to side. Speaking about you guys, it's an honor to be on the team. You made your way onto it, and you're working hard to keep your spot. What has coaching meant for you as far as not only getting onto the team, but now that you've got a great coach like Terry Scott heading up the program, how has coaching and how has Terry helped to elevate your game?
I think it's added a lot more structure into my training, into how I approach my preparation for main events, and also having that person sitting behind your rink to give you that extra support, as well as that knowledge base has been really, really important for us in terms of the growth as a player myself individually, but I think as us as a team as well.
Yeah, I think we shouldn't really keep going in order, I suppose. But anyway. I really think Terry has been such an amazing addition to the program. He's just got so much knowledge and so much experience. You know, he's been and played at and succeeded at these levels before, and he's been involved in a well-established high performance program in New Zealand before. So sort of all of that knowledge and experience that he brings is just, you know, it can only help our program. And I think the thing I appreciate Terry the most is that he's very sort of holistic. He understands that, you know, bowls isn't the end all and be all of the world, that we all have lives outside of it. We all have jobs that we have to keep. And he's pretty realistic about making sure that we don't get the balance wrong. And because of that, when we step out on the green and when we're competing at that level, we really want to be there. We really are peaking at the right moments where, you know, we're not bowled out, we're not overtrained, we're exactly where we want to be when we want to be. And I think that's been really a great addition to the program.
Absolutely, as the girls has knowledge, but he also believes in us, and I think that brings out the best in all of us. You know, he's there for support. He's there for guidance. He wins with us. He loses with us, and we move on together. So it's a tremendous opportunity to work with Terry and to have him as part of the squad along with the other support staff. It's a great group, and we're very fortunate.
Yeah, coaching, I think, is a really important aspect of developing in the sport. And for me, I was lucky that I had my partner, Pat Bird, to coach me from the start. And I think, you know, if you get that good foundation when you're beginning, you know, get a good delivery, sort of learn some of those things early on, that it really helps you accelerate your development. And with Terry bringing all that experience that he has, you know, he's just helped us accelerate our development at the international level.
Yeah, I just have to reiterate what the girls are saying. Terry's a wealth of knowledge, and he's so practical and realistic. And those qualities make it so easy to approach him for coaching advice. So he's a very good asset to Team Canada.
We can't forget Super Coach, of course. I mean, obviously, Darryl brings a whole other dimension to the coaching staff. And Captain Corduroy, too. Can't minimize his contributions.
Yeah, we're just there for comic relief, really. That's it, right? Now, I've had the privilege of traveling to events with all of you. I can honestly say that it's always an honor for a coach, whether it's myself, Terry, Captain Corduroy, or others, to make that journey, and all the work that goes into it from our perspective is always towards the group that is playing, and to see you guys succeed, see you guys be happy, whether it's in defeat or in success, that makes everything so worthwhile. And what I want to ask you guys, we all know you can play, and there's plenty of people in Canada that can play. There's plenty of people, say, in Australia that can play, that are trying to get on the Jackaroos side. What is it outside of just the skills, being able to roll a bowl, having a good delivery? What is it about your team that has led to the success that you guys have had? Over the last couple of events, you've hit some really great highs, and you've been able to maintain that and still be a really cohesive team. So what is it that keeps you guys together and keeps you guys doing well?
Don't answer first, Kelly.
I liked the organized flow there. It's working really well.
I would probably say team chemistry. We all have each other's backs, and we're all looking out for each other. And when you know that your teammate has your best interest at heart, it makes it really easy to rely on each other. and that kind of atmosphere really creates, I guess, success.
Good.
I guess I'll go next so we can go in order the other way around. I think, a lot of what I would put our success down to is, work ethic, sort of a shared sense of values. We really all bought into what we're doing. Part of it, of course, is some of the support that we're getting, with Terry being brought in. We've been working a lot with Danielle, our mental performance coach, and I think she's really added a lot to what we've been able to do. But, sometimes it's hard to know what exactly makes a team click. You play with some people and it works really well, and you play with other people and it doesn't work so well, and sometimes that's a really hard question to answer.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, and I think we all know we're all have different personalities. Yet when we do the personality test with Danielle, 4 of us, I think, were in the same category. So it's kind of funny that way. But I agree with everything that's been said. I mean, I don't think there's just one thing. We all have to do our own thing, the foundation, the technique, all of that good stuff, and the training. But it does come into the mental preparation and everything else. And I think there's just a respect with these girls. And Joanna kind of took the words out of my mouth when she said the buy-in. I think we've all bought into, not everything with the sports psychology might work for every one of us, but we all take something from it. We all trust in each other in the training and the dedication and the commitment that we're putting into this. So we know when we go out on the green, there's, we're just focused on the task at hand, and I think there's just that respect, and it is pretty special. I mean, I think we've all probably played with lots of different people over the years, and this is a pretty special group. It's been a special team to be part of, that's for sure, and I think it really comes down to that respect.
And I think, look, I've been on the team a long time. I've been involved in a lot of different teams and different events, and some of it is purely the fact that we have been a pretty core group for a while now. So we know each other. Every time we step on the green, it's not new. And all of the other stuff, traveling and living together and being together and all of that is really, really easy amongst us because we're familiar with each other now. We know each other's what we like, what we don't like. Don't do that in the morning. And a wise person once told me that's points on the scoreboard. If you don't have to spend energy with all of that, when you step on the green, that's points on the board. So yeah, I think that's one of the keys to our success. And I think one of the biggest compliments I got was actually from a high performance coach of another country that actually said to me, what you girls have is amazing. And he wished that he could take that and make it happen in his team, in his country. So it's visible to the rest of the world that, look, we're a group, we're a cohesive group, we're on the same track. So,
Yeah, look, I think it's about having that consistency with that core group. Like the girls had said, knowing everybody's personalities and how we all click and when to say something and when not to say something and living together. And I think that one of our challenges definitely is that we all live in all over the world now. But so when we step on the green, the fact that we get along off the green and we've had that experience with each other, that we can really just focus on the on-green stuff rather than, like everyone else has said, the living together in the pre-game and the post-game. That we really focus on just working on the on-green stuff because everything else is just coming so easily because we've had that experience together in the past.
And yeah, we haven't actually physically been in the same space in a year now.
Yeah.
But not a month goes by that we don't have an opportunity like this, that we don't catch up. We've got group chat. We're really still, there's always a connection between us. Yeah, it makes a difference. Yeah.
So I wanted to key on something that a number of you have said. I've noticed this when watching you guys play, and I mean, just like any other team and any other group of players, you have your highs and your lows. You have things that set you off and things that bring you joy, and I can see that on the green, and it happens to everybody. The mental game is something that is really important in any sport, and especially for bowls. As a coach, I have a lot of trouble conveying that to players and people who are coming up to say, this is something that you really need to work on, and this is something that is really important, especially if you're going to try to be on the national team. What has the mental training with Danielle, like you said, the mental skills coach, doing those sessions, what has that meant for you as far as your game goes, and over the time that we've kind of been away from the greens?
Who's going to start this time, girls?
Well, I was going to say I'm middle, aren't I? So I could jump in and really change it up.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say, and I kind of touched on it before, Darryl, everybody takes something different from it. And I think you have to believe in it, or at least maybe have an open mind. I've had the great fortune, and I know others on here have as well, to work with a few different people in the sports psychology field. And, I think it's fair to say that you take a little bit from everyone. Some things work, some things maybe it's right, it doesn't quite work for you, but it doesn't mean it doesn't work for Joanna. And I think it's just having that open mind. I mean, we can train as much as we want, and it comes down to trusting in the training and believing in yourself. But when you get out on that green, that training, you really do have to trust in the training, and so much of it is in your head of what happens after that. So I certainly am a big believer in it, and I think anyone who's kind of on the fence, just give it a try, knowing that not everything is going to work for you, but there might be something, a technique, a tactic, a saying, something that will stick with you, that you can carry with you, that might help you out.
Yeah, certainly.
You go, Jordan.
Jackie, that was too confusing starting in the middle.
You're on your own, girls.
No, I think there's two aspects to it. There's on an individual level, as Jackie said, it's sometimes very personal what works for you. Visualization, understanding your ideal performance state, how to, stay very process-oriented in a big moment. But I think a big part of how Danielle has helped us is on the team side, and just like we were talking about before, understanding each other, understanding how to get the best out of each other, understanding what to say when somebody's struggling, understanding what not to say when somebody's struggling. And part of that has been, looking inside ourselves and figuring out, what do I need from my teammates, and what can I give to my teammates when they're struggling. And I think that's been a huge part, because that takes a lot of time, figuring those things out, because we've been able to continue with the sessions throughout this whole sort of pause from being on the green, I think it can only benefit us massively in the long run.
I think it's been a big benefit for us as well, because we've all bought in, like we've talked about before, that we're having the sports psychology sessions and whatnot, that we're all there, we're all being 100% honest and open, and it's a very safe forum for us to discuss all those items that that come into play when we play on the green as a team. So the fact that everyone's buying in is huge.
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest skills we've learned is, everybody knows when things are going good, game's easy. Being a team's easy, being a player's easy. When everything's good, it's good. And so we've done a lot of work on, like Joanna said, when it's not good, individually as a team, what helps, what hinders, what would just piss each other off. And so we're a lot the reality is we're not all going to go out and play our best game every game all tournament, and it's so we've done a lot of work in putting strategies in place and things that we can still get over the line when we're at our B game or our C game or really heck our Z game, Z game. What I'm supposed to say, huh?
Bowls is, what's that saying? It's bowls is 20% physical and 80% mental. That's the saying, right? Or is it 9 and 10?
I think the saying is that 94% of statistics are made up on the spot.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say, bowls is 20% physical, 80% mental. And the amount of effort you put into developing the mental aspect of bowls and improving on it is indicative of what your results will be. And at the end of the day, though, it really is trust and belief and confidence in your ability. And that all comes from improving and developing mental training in regards to bowls.
And Darryl,
and if anyone wasn't sure, they've just figured out Jordan is the comic relief of the group. She is for entertainment.
That she is. No, I was just going to say, with COVID too, and Leanne alluded to this earlier, it's also been a way to keep us together and connected. And, there have been a whole different range of emotions and things that we've gone through over the course of the last 8 or 9 months. So it helps that way too, for sure. It's been a good outlet for us, and kudos to Bowls Canada and the High Performance Committee for seeing that and for investing in that and bringing Danielle on board.
Speaking of COVID and the shutdowns and all the stuff that I guess each of you are a little different. What has it been like for you guys dealing with this, not being able to bowl, having World Bowls postponed over and over and over again, which is was supposed to be your next big event, and for some of you being in lockdown constantly?
Oh, look, I think it's been a challenge, but it's also been a great bit of an opportunity to take a bit of a time out and reset, recharge, and work on the mental side of the game and the team side of the game a little bit more than probably we would have otherwise. So yeah, for me it was a great chance to recharge, and we're lucky enough here that we've just got out of lockdown and we're back on the greens. So look, the drive and the want to succeed is definitely there, and we're super excited to get back on the greens, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's been pretty difficult for me. I've taken it as an opportunity to practice and develop different skills and bowls that I in previous seasons haven't really had the opportunity to explore. But I'm definitely missing the tournaments and the high-level competition. Obviously, I haven't been able to really do a whole lot of that this summer.
Yeah, for those of us in Canada, COVID kind of happened as we would be leading up to our regular season. So there's no question it was a different season. It was probably a little different in every province or country. But it definitely wasn't normal. And I think it's just given you the opportunity to focus on the things you can control, because obviously those things are out of our control. And it's really given us an opportunity to focus on other things, whether it's the mental side of the game, whether it's finding balance that we don't normally have during the bowls season with bowls and family or bowls and friends. So it's just, looking for the positive and putting your your efforts and focus in other places at this point, and just staying connected as you do.
Yeah, I think for those of us that were in the Southern Hemisphere leading up to when World Bowls was supposed to be, the postponement was obviously really disappointing, but we sort of, because we were building up so hard for that World Championships, it was a good opportunity to just take a little break, knowing that now we have another long build-up to start. So it's good to take a little bit of a enforced timeout from bowls, perhaps. And then, yeah, I think all of us have just sort of focused on controlling what we control, do what we can do. And, it really is an opportunity. We rarely have a year to prepare for an event. Normally our teams are named not too long before an event, and we do what we can do to build up for the event, but we can really think about working hard in the next year with that tournament in mind as our ultimate goal. And having a Canadian season where we didn't have any competitions, for me, I used it kind of like a golfer making a swing change, that, if you want to make some maybe big or maybe not so big, just changes to your delivery. Those things take time, and it's hard to do that when you have competitions all the time. You're always not wanting to let your teammates down, or, not accept that you're going to get worse a little bit before you get better. So it was a really good opportunity to just do a lot of individual training, really focus on the delivery. And, this is going to be a very unique time for me, being in Canada for a winter for the first time in a long time. And so actually having a bowls off season is going to be very different. But, we talked about the mental training and, the visualization that you can do, and physical training, keeping up with your lunges, you can really make the most of even not being on the green. And whether that's COVID enforced or just because it's cold outside, you just have to look at what you can do, all aspects. What opportunities can you take to get better?
Yeah, I live in New South Wales, and we have been so fortunate, to be honest. We are probably one of the least affected places on the planet. So we did have a period of not being able to play, and certainly what you would call a lockdown. I work as a nurse, so that didn't apply. So I actually, I worked straight through. Life was more or less carry on for me, but the break, I think it was needed, and I spoke to a lot of people right throughout the world when COVID hit, and they'd say, geez, it's the first break from bowls I've had in 17 years. It's the first time I haven't had a season in 20 years. It's the first time I've seen my family every weekend for, and so I think there was sort of a silver lining to it. And I actually found when I came back to bowls just recently is that, you sort of fall back in love with the game. I want to be out there. I want to be competing. I want to be playing. It's not, so I think, yeah, again, you have to take the positives out of it, and you have to make the most of the situation. And some of the stuff we did with Danielle was, what can you control and what can't you control, and try and really focus on what you can. So,
And one of the first things I picked up from working with Danielle was, tips to keeping the rust off. And that was, kind of what we focused on for the off season. So simple things like keeping the bowl in your hand every day, just for that familiar feel. Or I think Joanna or someone mentioned lunges, going through the action of your deliveries, just, to keep that rust off so that it's a smooth transition when you go back on the green. So, we're just doing this for a little extended period of time, that's all.
So I got some questions from the general public a while ago we had put out kind of a post to say we're having you guys on the show. What kind of questions would you want to ask? So I'm going to ask you a few of them. I'll try to give you the easy ones first, and we'll work from there. Who's the funniest person on the team?
Well, Jordan makes us laugh. I don't know if she's the funniest.
Fair.
She makes us laugh. I actually, this surprised people. I think Joanna's actually the funniest. Dry, but when she comes out with something, Jesus, it's a humdinger. Yeah.
I appreciate that, because I do try to be funny, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'm always funny. But I do think it's an important part of our team. Like, I think we all have a good sense of humor, and I think it's important because we do take what we do seriously, and it's good to have a counterbalance for that intensity when we're at a tournament, that, you know, you can just keep the mood a bit lighter and stay loose. And I think we perform our best when we're, you know, in that positive frame of mind. So yeah, I think it's important to be able to have laugh. I mean, Jordan is very funny. Jackie tells the best jokes, for sure. Yeah.
And Jackie does the best karaoke, too.
There you go.
I would probably say. I was going to say, I think Jackie has the best laugh. Whenever I hear it, I always gravitate towards where she's standing to see what's going on.
Oh, Jesus. Please don't encourage Jackie's jokes.
Well, you know, I was sitting here wondering, I wonder, like, I might not be funny, but do they not appreciate my jokes? So thank you for bringing that up.
Like jokes.
Oh, that's great. I will say that seeing you guys on the green and just being able to hang around with you in competition, the ability of you guys to not only talk to each other, but even in those tense moments, in those when someone's feeling down or whatever, one of you usually either says something or cracks a joke or does that and makes the other person at least smile or laugh or something. And I think that's just a huge testament to just how close you guys are. So, and like Joanna said, it's important, right?
But it's, again, something that, you know, we've had to figure out, because, you know, if somebody's having a really bad game, you know, and, you know, making a joke sometimes just is not what they want to hear. So,
Sure.
You know, it's sort of a testament to the work that we've put in, that we have sort of been able to find that balance.
You know, there's been some trial and error and some big errors along the way.
For you guys, who's your biggest role model, or possibly role models? Maybe you had one growing up and now you have a new one, but who do you look up to?
Oh, I look up to my family and to my dad in particular when it comes to bowls and the wealth of experience that he's had on and off the greens, that the advice and everything that he's given me along the way. Yeah, I would say that my dad and my family definitely are my biggest role models.
Come on, Leanne, keep the order.
Oh, I was purposely waiting for someone else to jump in. So I was really lucky when I started on the national team, however many years ago that was, that I got to play with Anita Nivola, who's, most people will know she's from Regina. Very successful bowler, nationally, very successful bowler, internationally, Commonwealth Games silver medalist. And Anita is probably the only person that I've ever... You stand on the mat and you want to play a better bowl just because she's standing at the other end. And I will spend my whole bowls career trying to live up to that way of being. So yeah, super fortunate. And to this day, I still think she's one of the favorite players that I've ever played with. So very lucky.
That's really nice. For me, it all started with my family. My grandfather, who got my mom into the game, my mom, who has had such a passion for the game over the years, and now my sister and I having the opportunity to play with her. So certainly the family ties and the family role models for Mom and for Tammy and my grandfather before them. And I think just having had the opportunity to travel a bit and to see different people, and it's not always just what they do on the green, it's the whole person, the whole package, so to speak. And those are the people who I've watched, and you hope to take something away from them. And I think, wow, Leanne, what you said about Anita, it's so nice. And to be influenced so much by somebody like that, it's that's what does keep us going and wants us to be not only a better bowler but a better person. So lots of people along the way, but definitely my family got me started for sure.
Yeah, to keep the family theme going, I really consider Pat to be a big role model for my bowls career. Just his work ethic and showing me what you have to do to constantly improve, that attitude of knowing that you want to improve and want to put in the work to improve, but also the perspective, that you can't control everything. Results aren't always going to go your way, and just keeping a positive attitude, and other things like game plan, really structuring your training with a goal in mind. Those are kind of things that I've learned from him.
I would probably say my cousins, Brandon and Carter, approach the game with such a high level of class. And I would say I approach each game aspiring to have as much integrity and respect for it as my cousins do.
I had to take notes on this one. This one's from Ryan Stadnick. For those that don't know, Ryan is now the chair of the High Performance Committee. But he had a pretty good question for you guys, and it said, based on your experience, and some of you have had more experience down under than most, but what is the style of play that you think is missing from Canada and would have the most impact on our game? Or at least add more fun to our game?
Are you talking about like a format of the game, or? Yeah,
I think he was asking something like, you guys down in Australia, New Zealand, do you have things like interclub games, pennant games, possibly different national formats, BPL, those kind of things? Like, there's so much down there compared to up here. What would be the best thing that we could import, maybe?
I think that from at least my experience, from a club level and a grassroots level, that's where it really needs to start from. And something that's great here is I love playing pennants. I love playing for my club here. Every Saturday you go out and you play for the shirt with all 90 to 100 others going out there the exact same day. So, and it doesn't matter what level you're playing at. There's different grades, but I think that that's something that was missing or is missing back home, that the rivalry between clubs and the camaraderie within the club that I've experienced here probably isn't the same back home.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, I went last time. You go this time.
I was just going to say, so I've played in Australia and New Zealand, and I would tend to agree that whether it's pennants, whether it's interclub, just that and it happens in all the other sports in Canada. It happens in soccer and hockey and curling, and there's the intramural stuff, and it gives you a sense of playing for something that's bigger than yourself. You're playing for your club, you're playing for your teammates, and it really it strengthens the club. It strengthens the sort of belief of the club and the whole atmosphere. When I belong to a club in Canada, yes, I belong to a club, but you've never had that sort of pride necessarily that you have down here. So, yes, Australia has big clubs and lots of members, and they can, make 12-side pennant teams, and there's 7 grades of them, and but obviously, a scaled down version of an interclub in Canada, it would, it's completely possible. Even if New Zealand was doing 7, so a 4 is a pairs and a singles, but even if you went out with 2 pairs or a pair and a triple or whatever, just to get that, that's sort of.
And that the OPL that's in Ontario is a version of that, and I think that's gained a lot of attraction and has been really successful. That just started just before I left to move to Australia. So, but you still see all the social media and all that advertising and promoting the game. So it looks like that's still really very much a popular tournament back in Ontario.
And I think, too, there's another side of it of the Southern Hemisphere is doing a really good job of promoting some of the short formats as a way of grabbing attention and membership and things like that. We don't all play a BPL style of game, for our club and things. We have, proper games and pennants and things. But there's that other side where we're showcasing the game in a short, quick format, trying to sort of make it a little bit more appealing to a younger generation. Game only takes an hour, so I think that there's sort of 2 avenues that they do a really good job of down here that maybe Canada and America could potentially learn from.
I think it's a challenge too, that because the season's so short in Canada, that you're trying to cram all the provincials and the districts and the Canadian championships, and there's only so many weekends you have to do that. So that's definitely a challenge, that whether or not there are more indoor facilities that can be utilized to promote the game during the winter time. I don't know.
Yeah, there's certainly, for me, there's kind of the club aspect of things was one of my favorite parts of bowling in Australia and New Zealand. Bowling for Broad Beach, you're high-fiving somebody you've never met before in the clubhouse, but you recognize that they were on the Div 5 team that just won the pennant. Just that kind of club camaraderie on the green. And then, in New Zealand, the club goes beyond even being on the bowls green. Like, the club is where you go for a beer after work on your way home, and not just having people from the club come out to support you when you're playing another club, but even in kind of the equivalent of our provincial championships here, you make the final of one of those events, and people from the club will come out and support you, even not just people that were playing in the tournament and have lost and are stuck around, but people make an effort to go support you because you're playing for the club. So that's a really special part of bowls down there, that kind of community feel. But Kelly and Leanne kind of alluded to some of the reasons why it's not so easy to just say, oh, we should definitely have that here. Having fewer numbers, fewer clubs, it just makes it all more difficult. I'm proud to be a member of 3 clubs in Calgary, and the one down the street that I can just walk over and practice at, the one across town that's got the fastest greens, the one where my dad was playing so I could play with him. In New Zealand, you'd never be part of more than one club. It's just not done, right? You're part of one club, and so I would hate to lose that. ability to play with people that are from outside of your club. If you're from a smaller province, you want to support your local club by being a member, but if you have to be from the same club to play with somebody, say in a provincial, then that makes it hard for people. So and I think the same thing applies for sort of different formats. It's hard to to grow the game, you really have to be more inclusive. People should be able to play whenever. But to increase competitive opportunities, sometimes you need to be more exclusive. You need to be only playing in Div 1 if you are at that level. Otherwise, it sort of waters down the competition. So with our lower numbers and us being spread out, it definitely adds some additional challenges that make this question harder than the initial reaction, I think.
I agree. I think Canada needs to, it's easy for me to say, I don't live there, but I really think Canada needs to have a good, hard look at how they run their national championships, their provincial championships, and how much longer they can support the current format with the membership numbers. I really think that, but like I said, easy for me to say, all the way down here.
So Jordan and Jackie, being outside of that kind of atmosphere and being in Canada, what do you think about those comments? Do you think we could possibly fit something like that here, or are we kind of stuck with so many championships that it's hard to squeeze something in?
I think those are real challenges for sure. I don't disagree with anything any of the girls said, and I think we have to be open to trying things. I think we've all faced the declining memberships and that sort of thing, and the one thing I think it was Kelly was talking about that resonated with me is just making the club a fun place to be and wanting to be there. And that's something, my hometown club is very small. It's the smallest in the province, and it has been a struggle the last couple of years. So the one thing that we've done over the last 2 summers, and this year was obviously a little different with COVID, but it was trying to just make it a fun place that people wanted to be, whether they were going there to bowl or just going to sit on the deck to watch a friend bowl. And that can be done. I think, we've seen in the other club here at Wanderers in Halifax that I'm involved in, the number of jitneys they do, or, there's some people who come back from being away that maybe try a game or a different format that they've picked up from somewhere else, and they try that, and it does generate some enthusiasm. And I think those are the things. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes volunteers, and it takes people being there. But those are the sorts of things I think, so even if it's maybe on a smaller scale, then you take baby steps toward implementing something a little bigger.
Yeah, I agree with what all of the girls are saying. I think one of the key issues too is that we need to figure out a way to both retain and sustain members within clubs. And we need to create a more social atmosphere. And so I think any idea would be good to try and implement in Canada. I know at my club we started a B Cube, which is a rec league, and it's been very good for our club in creating more of a social environment and a more exciting and enticing atmosphere. So I think anything just to try it would help improve bowls in Canada.
Yeah, I think the beer league model has been very successful at the club near us in Calgary, Rotary Park. It's the biggest club numbers-wise in Alberta, but has very few competitive members, but it's all fours, sort of a curling style, right? You talked about curling, Leanne, and most curlers, they just join a league on a weeknight with their friends. They go, they have a game, they have a beer after the game, they have fun. And I think that's the kind of thing that can grow the game. Maybe not, a lot of people say, well, how many of those people play in the provincials? Well, almost none, but how many people playing at Calgary Curling Club on a Thursday night are playing in the provincials? Well, none. It's not, there's kind of two separate aspects to it. There's the grassroots, and then there's the competitive model. And like the beer league is where I started, and where Jen McDonald, who's on the development team, started. Like, you just have to get hooked by the game, and then you can go down a competitive path. But I think we need more people playing the game, and it's not, the Sunday afternoon jitney where you get thrown on a team with who knows who. That's maybe not the most, what people consider the most fun. If you're young and, just are taking this opportunity to do something fun. And maybe weekends isn't when we want to be bowling because we're off camping or, it's a short summer. So I think, weeknight beer leagues are, not that it has to be with beer, but weeknight fun leagues are a way to get people interested in bowls. And then, there's pathways beyond that.
I think you've all made excellent points, and just the one that caught me, that Joanna just mentioned, getting together with friends and being with people and enjoy being around to do something like that, I think is important. The last couple interviews I did with, I'll say quote unquote, younger people, Eric Galpo and Owen Kirby, we kind of asked them that question, like, why did you join? Why did you stay? And what made you stay? And it's like, it wasn't, I went and I was by myself with my dad and I did something. That sometimes works, but it was, I had a group of people that were my age. I played with them all the time. I got to know them. We became friends and we traveled everywhere, and I just got hooked, and so did all of them. So having that core group really does help. I agree. So I've got a question here, and I'll try to phrase it, and I want to ask Jackie the first question on this one, but the question is, for those in the Southern Hemisphere, what food or drinks or anything do you miss from the Northern Hemisphere? And from those in the Northern, when you go down to the Southern, what food or drinks do you miss from down there? And I'll ask Jackie because she's the team smuggler, I think. So what are the things that you actually bring people?
Well, craft dinner is very popular. Ketchup chips are missed by those in the Southern Hemisphere. There was a certain kind of gum that we had last time.
Yeah, Excel Bubble Mint.
Yeah, that one.
Really?
Yeah. And it was fun. Oh, I can't tell that story. Never mind. I'll give something away. I'll ruin the surprise.
Well, when I go south, I always take maple syrup, Costco like vat size, and Tim Hortons coffee for my boss's wife, who's Canadian and loves her Timmies. And yeah, ketchup chips and all dressed chips are a favorite that you can't get down there. Yeah, gosh, when I come back, I usually bring chocolate from New Zealand. They have lots of the dairy industry is very big. They make milk, they make chocolate. With the milk.
Tim Tams.
Yeah.
No, I'm not a real Tim Tam.
I like Tim Tams.
I think you've got to talk to the men's team if you want to talk about Tim Tams.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a bad habit for the men's team, yeah.
Oh, they go through like a pack a day.
That's probably unders, to be fair.
Yeah. It's funny. Kelly and I were talking about this not that long ago. I sent her something on Facebook, and it was a guy that was like basically trialing out all these Canadian delights, and it was like, I miss that. But yeah, Ruffles all dressed are definitely on the list for the next smuggling session. We're very lucky that Jackie always seems to have a little bit of extra room in her suitcase when she comes down.
Ruffles Aldrin.
Chili powder is the other thing that I take down to New
Really?
Zealand because, what they call chili powder down there is more like cayenne. So the first time I went to New Zealand and stayed with very kind family, I made fajitas that were extremely spicy because it's not the same. So, chili powder.
You saying that, seasoning salt I do miss. That doesn't seem to exist down here, but they make up for it because they've got chicken salt, which is also amazing.
Ketchup isn't the same here, or tomato sauce, tomato sauce. It's not the same as ketchup.
No, it's not. It's horrific. And bacon. I really miss bacon.
Yeah.
Proper bacon.
That might be a little more difficult to...
Jackie's going to get arrested the next time she comes down.
Yeah, I'm a little uncomfortable. I'm a little uncomfortable with the word smuggling because I'm pretty sure that everything that Jackie does is completely above board.
Yeah.
The sniffer dogs can smell the ketchup chips from a mile away, I'm sure.
I could smell the ketchup chips from a mile away when she came. It's like, oh, Jackie's here, yeah.
I didn't leave quite enough space that time. So when, the pressure built up, it didn't have room to grow. And we got to Toronto and had a bit of a mess. But, nothing that a little Scotch tape after running around the airport to find couldn't fix, right, Darryl?
That's right. She went
They were
flying.
delicious.
Yeah.
They were delicious. And much appreciated.
Well, ladies, we're over the hour mark for this show, which is fantastic. You guys have been really awesome. I wanted to ask you kind of one last question to top everything off. For you guys, whether it's just being part of this team or it's the national program as a whole, what's the best part of being part of this whole experience?
I'm going to go, there's two things. One, the people, not just these people. I love these people. But the people that we meet internationally, it really is a community. And I have met some of the most amazing people along the way, and people that I hold near and dear. Some of my best friends have come from this sport, so I am forever grateful for who I get to meet. And I've said it, I think, sort of towards the beginning, just the privilege of being able to represent Canada is second to none. And as long as I can do it and do it well, I'm grateful for that opportunity in life.
Yeah, it's hard to pick just one, Darryl, and I'm going to go pretty much where Leanne just went. It's the people, and by the people, it's not just the players. It's obviously our teammates. It's the support staff, the coaching staff. It's the players who you compete against, but it's also the people in the stands. Some of the most interesting people, and some people from my first trip away still keep in touch because they watched the Canadians play and they were just taken with us, or they just struck up a friendship and have stayed in touch and followed us through this journey. So definitely the people, and just the competition, the fire in your belly, the desire to stand out on the greens or to march into a stadium, and just the pride that you feel and the desire to do well. And that doesn't necessarily, obviously we all want to win, but just to do well and to play well and to be able to hold our heads high and make friends along the way.
I think it's very much the opportunities that the game's given all of us, really, traveling all over the world, meeting some amazing people like the girls have said, made some of the best friends, met my partner that way as well, so I wouldn't have met Ali otherwise. So It's great that way. And yeah, just the opportunity that's given to travel all over the world and to walk out into a Commonwealth Games venue with the rest of Team Canada and all the other countries. And the ability to work with everybody to attain goals and making our goals and dreams a reality really is a really fun and exciting process.
I'd probably say my teammates. I've made so many friends through this experience that I wouldn't have been able to make otherwise or gotten to know otherwise. And I would probably say it's such an honor to wear the maple leaf on our back. And knowing that we get to represent our country is just such a great feeling.
Yeah, definitely the just the pride of the jersey is the best part for me. Just thinking about the people that are supporting you, the people that have worn the jersey before you, that you're building on what they've done, and sort of that feeling of going into battle together with those people behind you and trying to achieve something for Canada that we've never achieved before. That's definitely the best part.
Well, ladies, it's been an absolute pleasure. You guys have answered everything and more. I think this has been a fantastic show, and I'm really glad that all of you could be a part of this tonight.
Well,
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for not only what you do for us on the national squad and the development squad, but thanks for all you do for the game of bowls in promotion and everything else.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is a wrap for another Canadian Bowler After Dark. If you can, like, follow, subscribe to our channel. We are literally that close to hitting 500 subscribers on YouTube. And all your support, all your likes, all your shares really, really do help us and the show and promoting this wonderful game of ours. So with that, we will sign off for the night, and we will see you next time.
See you, everybody. See you, girls.
Bye.
See ya.
See ya.
See you, girl.